Hey, fifth graders, welcome to Informational Text Day 1. Now, I was supposed to teach this a long time ago, but we kind of skipped over it. So, let's start talking about what we're going to be working on today. Our learning targets are you will create an informational text anchor chart to demonstrate your knowledge. You will discuss and analyze the great white shark, and you will build academic oral language and vocabulary. All right, so let's start looking at your first page of your handout, the informational text, and our focus on the genre informational text. And we're going to start answering these questions here. What is an informational text? What is the purpose of informational text? How do you read an informational text? And who writes informational text? And then we will address this after we do that. So first, why don't you just take some time, pause the video, jot down your ideas in terms of what is an informational text. Okay, so pause the video. When you're ready, restart, and then check and see if your ideas match mine. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So in terms of what an informational text is, an informational text is nonfiction text that presents information in an accurate and organized way. It is often about a single subject. Research reports students write for school assignments are informational tests, not tests, I should say text. I apologize here. Not good typing on my part. Okay, so basically, it's nonfiction. It's nonfiction about a certain subject. A lot of the articles that we read as we in this program, in the benchmark literacy program, they're informational texts. They give us information about something. Okay. Next question. What is the purpose of informational text? So why don't you pause video? Why don't you think about that? And then when you have jot something down, and when you're ready, restart the video. Okay. All right, so what is the purpose of informational text? Informational text has one main purpose, to inform. The best informational writing does this in a way that keeps readers' attention. It makes readers want to keep reading and want to know more about the topic. And that's what that's what's great about informational text, that you're learning from it. But sometimes if it's well written and if it's interesting, you're learning from it, but you don't even know that you're learning. You're just taking information and taking information. All right. Our next question: how do you read an informational text? Now, hopefully, you know more than just left to right, top to bottom, put letters together to form words, words form sentences, and whatnot. Okay. How do you actually read the informational text? How do you so you are able to bring in as much information as you can? All right. Pause the video, jot some ideas, and then when you're ready, restart the video and see if we agree. All right, so when we read informational text, we should look for facts and the details that support the facts. Read critically to make sure conclusions make sense. Ask yourself, did I learn something new from this text? Do I want to know more about it? Can I draw my own conclusions from what I have read? Okay, very important that you are making your own conclusions, all right? Last week, we talked about making judgments and the importance of that. Finally, who writes informational text? Okay, why don't you pause the video, jot down an answer, and then restart the video, check and see if our answers line up. All right, so when it comes to writing informational texts, writers who know their topic well write good informational text. They do this by becoming mini experts on the subject they are writing about. So they get really small, so they're very small experts. Okay, that's not what it means, but it just means that they become an expert, okay? They provide more than one person's point of views. They use primary sources or first-hand information. Now, oftentimes, primary source, first-hand information are details that they're the oldest of details. Oftentimes, when we look at Wikipedia, it's a secondary or tertiary source because they've taken from other writing. Okay, so the initial writing, that's a primary source that someone uses and references, and then someone else references that. So then, and I'm making something with my hand. But when we look at it, think about an upside down pyramid. That primary source is the main thing. okay, and then everything builds upon that. And then we start pulling in other main first primary sources till we can create a really nice, um, well written, well researched informational text. Okay, when I was in college, I was a history major, and one of the things that I would often do is I would look for primary sources, and some of those were sometimes letters or newspaper accounts and things like that, interviews that were right there, people's journals, and those make the best those make the best sources, and they make the best stories because you're just reading someone else's life, and the excitement or sometimes the boringness that happens in their life. All right. All right, so now let's look at this. You can switch over to the next page because we blew this up, so this is a little bit larger for you. So let's talk about informational text, and we're going to go in a different pattern today just because we could. We'll start at the top. Features of an informational text. An informational text has a strong beginning that hooks the reader. Now, one of the things that we've noticed when we've talked about these and when we've looked at readings and we've looked at this, a lot of them have something that hooks the reader, that gets the reader there and ready to read, ready to learn. All right. An informational text uses primary sources when appropriate. Okay. As much as possible when we're writing informational text, we want to draw from the best resource possible, and oftentimes and most times that's a primary resource. Okay. An informational text includes multiple perspectives so readers can draw their own conclusion. Now, when we talked about the persuasive essay, not a lot of perspectives in there. Generally, it's just one, and they were really driving home a certain point. Well, when we look at informational texts, they often include different viewpoints, and to really allow the reader to come up with their own conclusion, to figure out what they think. Okay? An informational text has a logical organization of major concepts. Okay, so it makes sense as you read. Sometimes it's chronological. Sometimes it's from most important to least important. But there's generally a method to the writer's madness in terms of putting it together. The information presented is accurate and facts have been checked, and that's an important thing. And that's the difference between an informational text and like an opinion paper. An opinion paper, you base it off of information, and then you jump to and you tell them what you are thinking. Whereas an informational text is all information, and it's there to help you understand things. All right. An informational text includes graphics that support the text just to help you understand things better. Okay, help you in case there's something that you don't quite understand. It's going to help clarify, or something that the writer really wants you to make sure you understand. They will provide a graphic to help understand that. All right, and finally, an informational text has a strong ending that keeps the readers thinking. Hopefully, it's taking you and having you take that next step. And it might ask you a question. It might present a puzzle or something that's really going to engage you in that process and help you come up with your own definition or your own conclusion. Because that's what we want. We want you to think, and we want you to think about things to make sure that you're understanding it. All right. So let's look at right now there are a bunch of questions in your handout packet that you can start looking at. How does a magazine or newspaper article begin? How do authors make you want to read? Where do most of the details of informational text come from? From the author's imagination, from research? What graphic features do you find in informational text? How are informational texts organized? Now, you don't have to answer those because those are very much just to get you thinking, and I probably should have thought about that when we were going through this. But right now, those are just to help get you thinking. Okay. But now we're going to read an informational text called The Great White Shark. As you read, I want you to pay attention to which genre features are present in this informational text. Okay, so I'm going to pop to this page here, The Great White Shark. So why don't you pause the video and take some time and read this article, okay, on the Great White Shark. All right. Hopefully you have read this article, and it tells me to allow you to read it and then to listen to a fluent reading. So I will be reading this now. The Great White Shark. The great white shark is the world's largest predatory shark. A full-grown great white shark can be 14 to 18 feet. That's 4 to 5 meters long. It can weigh up to 4,000 pounds, or 1,814 kilograms. A great white shark's jaw can open more than 3 feet, or 1 meter wide. This allows the shark to handle large prey, such as seals and sea lions. There are about 300 triangular-shaped teeth in rows inside a shark's mouth. Upper and bottom teeth work together on prey. Bottom teeth hold prey in place. Top teeth that are 3 inches or 8 centimeters long tear into flesh. A great white shark is constantly losing and growing new teeth. The great white swims in coastal waters everywhere except for the polar regions. It has a powerful sense of smell, which allow it to detect even 1 drop of blood in the water. The great white shark is considered the world's deadliest shark. It is able to overpower most people, but many scientists believe that great whites do not attack humans on purpose. Although the shark has excellent eyesight in dark seawater, things look blurry up close. Scientists think that sharks are mistaking people for seals and sea lions. There are only about 400 recorded attacks by great whites on humans, and most were not fatal. All right, so now that we've read this, what I'd like you to do is take some time, go through, why don't we finish the video, and then when you're done, go back to your packet and answer those 2 questions. Informational text, use many facts and details that can be fact-checked by readers. What are some of the details in this article that you could verify using other sources? And then informational texts provide a variety of information in an accurate and organized way. Where do great white sharks live? Is there a place where they do not live? But in closing, today we learned the key features of informational text, and we discussed the important ideas and details in The Great White Shark. Tomorrow we'll read and analyze another informational text, and then we'll compare and contrast the articles to deepen our understanding. All right, boys and girls, why don't you, when you're after this, answer those questions in your packet, and then you can work on word work or read quietly.